Hello everybody, my name is Neil. I'm your IELTS instructor with a perfect band 9 in the speaking section. And today we'll be talking about neighbors, okay, part 3. Let's look at the first question. What sort of things can neighbors do to help each other? Okay, firstly, what you need to do is to create a wonderful introduction sentence, okay? Then you need to talk about the first activity and then the second activity, because the question is what sort of things can neighbors do to help each other? Things. Pay close attention to this plural form, right? Therefore, the examiner really wants to get at least 2 activities from you. So activity 1 and then activity 2. And then when you're talking about the first activity, make sure that you provide one specific example. And then when you're talking about the second activity, talk about the second example. Now I will show you my response. What you need to do is to listen carefully and try to understand what kind of linking ideas, grammar, and vocabulary I use in my response. Okay, here we go. So the question is, what sort of things can neighbors do to help each other? There are several activities that neighbors can engage in to help each other. Firstly, neighbors can help each other to prepare for wedding ceremonies. For example, while the first neighbor can be responsible for decorating a restaurant with colorful balloons and flowers, the other might be willing to help to put together several salads for visitors. Secondly, neighbors might look after your house while you are away. For instance, a good neighbor of mine always waters my flowers and feeds my dog when I'm away on a business trip for several days. Alright, now let's look at the next question. How well do people generally know their neighbors in your country? So remember, you must answer this question precisely. So how well do people generally know? You could say that they know each other quite well, or they don't know each other, or while some people know each other, others don't. Okay, so the examiner really wants to get a very precise answer. So answer the question precisely. And you can, like, when you're not 100% sure, right, you can use this phrase, I would imagine that, which basically means I suppose that. Instead of saying I think that, you could say I would imagine that. And then when you're talking about your neighbors, right, instead of saying most neighbors, you could also say the vast majority of close neighbors. The expression the vast majority of basically means most close neighbors, but it sounds much better, and this advanced phrase can help you to improve your vocabulary score. Next, then you must also provide at least one reason why they know each other. Okay, and when you are providing your reason, you can use this phrase, this is because, and then explain why. And then you should give one example by saying for instance or for example. All right, now I will show you my response, so listen carefully and try to understand what structure I've used, how I have used the structure, and what words and grammar I'm using in my response. Okay, let's do it. So the question is, how well do people generally know their neighbors in your country? I would imagine that the vast majority of close neighbors know each other very well. This is because they participate in a lot of social events such as birthday parties, weddings, and graduation ceremonies. For instance, people in my neighborhood and I always have tons of fun organizing weddings together for a bride and groom who are definitely the center of attention for the whole neighborhood. All right, now let's look at the next question. How important do you think it is to have good neighbors? So here you've got to answer the question precisely, because the question is how important do you think? So you could say it is important, it is very important, or it's not important at all, okay? But you must definitely answer the question precisely. And here, instead of saying I think that or I suppose that, you could also say I'm convinced that, which means I strongly believe that. And instead of saying important again, you can just paraphrase it by saying of vital importance, meaning that it's very important. Then you could provide one specific example to prove your point of view by saying, for example, or for instance. Then you could also talk about a similar situation by saying in the same respect, which is the same as similarly, okay, or likewise. And then you could also draw a very nice conclusion here by saying that this close cooperation and mutual support makes the whole community friendly and cooperative. Okay, so let's analyze my model answer now. Okay, look at this mind map and listen to my response carefully. So the question is, how important do you think it is to have good neighbors? I'm convinced that having great neighbors is of vital importance. For example, because my neighbor is a doctor, she constantly helps those neighbors who have fallen ill and seek their medical advice. In the same respect, I'm a computer expert. Therefore, I have the privilege of helping a lot of my neighbors to install new software or repair computers. This close cooperation and mutual support makes the whole community friendly and cooperative.